I'm Tom Gibson. I run and own Blackhill Studios in Southampton. I'm a producer, mix engineer, and I lecture for a number of places like the Songwriting Academy and other colleges and universities nearby. So I've been playing guitar since I was about 8, and at about 15, 16 I started working as an intern in local studios, and then through college I was doing music tech and physics and things, and I was recommended to go look at the Tonmeister course, which I went and completed, which is quite a hard course to get onto. I think about 3,000 people apply for 30 places a year, and it's generally the feeder program for Abbey Road. Then I graduated and worked freelance at a number of studios, but family and friends are down in Southampton. I grew up here and I know the scene down here, so I decided to come down here and work predominantly in the studios in this area. And then I got to the point where I didn't want to be working for other people, and I have my own vision of what a studio should be like and what it should provide for its clients. So I set this place up with savings, and here we are. One of my first opportunities when I moved down here from working up in London was working with Gareth Henderson, who gave me my first break in a studio in Southampton, and I learnt a lot working there on more pop stuff. He was Birdie's first producer and did all of her vocal tracking at that studio, so that was a great opportunity to see how all that was getting done. Mark Hill, who was one of the original guys in Artful Dodger who wrote all of Craig David's stuff, used to rent a room there as well, and I learnt a lot working alongside him, and we've done courses together talking about production. Since then I've been lecturing for the Songwriting Academy, working alongside people like Chris Neal, who've been the vocal producer for people like Celine Dion and Rod Stewart, and quite big names, and watching him vocal produce is pretty incredible. Martin Sutton, who runs it, who's written some great songs, and working with people like Mo Pleasure quite regularly, who was musical director for Earth, Wind and Fire for quite a few years, has always been a cool experience whenever I go up there and do stuff with him. But down here I tend to focus a lot more on artist development and trying to bring artists up from the grounds up. So I'm working with quite a few artists at the moment, which I'm hoping to help their career as much as I can and be mentioned among those names at some point. I get asked the question, what genre do I do, quite a lot, and I find it a difficult one to answer. I suppose the best way to answer it is that I do a lot more contemporary music, but it's wide-ranging. I do a lot of pop stuff, dance stuff. I do all sorts of indie rock bands. I have quite a few indie rock bands in here, and I work a lot with singer-songwriters. I get on well with them. I've done so many things in the past. I spent a year just recording jazz and classical music. The course I trained on is kind of focused towards that and being able to record any instrument that comes in, and film score stuff as well. But my love is pop and rock and indie stuff, so it's whatever's contemporary, it's whatever's on the radio. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to help artists sound current and get on the radio as well. So I like working in genres that stretch me. A lot of people nowadays can record at home, and I teach people to be able to record at home better as well. But the reason that you maybe still want to come in and use a producer in a professional studio is, as a producer, you've got a sounding board, you've got another person who's very musical to throw ideas around with, and I can work quicker than most hobbyists. I teach a lot of people how to do it, so I'm pretty proficient. And the reason that you maybe want a proper studio is, well, you've got soundproof rooms, which if you're in the mood and you've got the right zone for doing your recording, you don't want a neighbour or road noise or anything to get in the way of you making the record you want and getting the perfect take. I can also offer more artist development kind of casual advice throughout the day, whether or not you want to actually book a proper artist development meeting in with me and work on it on a regular basis. But having advice on how to release your song in the best way, how to distribute it and get it out there, where to put it, which bloggers to get in contact with, how to get radio plays, how to fund the EP itself or fund further projects. There's ways to do it that end up not costing you what you think it might cost. And there's also just being able to treat it a bit more like a business and getting advice about how you should run yourself as an artist to actually make a profit out of it, as opposed to treat it like you're spending your savings all the time. I get asked sometimes what's the difference between a producer and an engineer, and a lot of studios around will give you an engineer in your session who can push the buttons and know how to record, and they may have a good idea of how to mix and stuff. But a producer is someone who comes in and helps you with the project as a whole. In the old days, they used to be the link between the record label and the artist, so they were trying to get the creative side down with the artist, but make sure from the record label's perspective it was going to be a commercial hit. And they were also the person who was doing the time management on the project, getting the right people involved in it, and making sure as a song it was the best the song could ever be. That role's changed a little bit in modern times because of technology and less people being involved in the studio, but nowadays a modern producer is someone who can do all of that to some capacity themselves. So as well as being able to engineer and get a great sound and do the mixes and get it sounding radio ready, as a producer I'm throwing in ideas, helping you make the song better, helping you plan the project as a whole, and add some extra stuff to your song that's going to bring it alive.